Alrighty. Hi, my name is Bryan Emerick, and I'm super excited to present you with my project. I titled it Sustainable Steps. All right. The goal behind Sustainable Steps is to minimize trail damage through footwear design. By studying the torsional force of the foot, along with foot stability and the materiality in which the shoe is constructed, I learned that you can reduce the literal impact of the footprint when walking, especially on hiking trails, which often consist of sand and various other types of sediment. The reason this is so important is that we damage our earth every single day, from greenhouse gases to stepping on dirt. We need to start looking at a more sustainable design in which we not only design for the user, but also for Mother Nature, so we can continue to enjoy her beauty for generations to come. After meeting with the BLM for the first time, they discussed their concerns with the CRAMP Act, which aims to implement a recreation plan within Bears Ears National Park over the next 4 years. They listed a handful of issues that needed to be addressed, but trail proliferation caught my attention. After doing some research, I noticed that trail proliferation can all be attributed back to trail damage and how people are creating new trails by walking outside the designated hiking path. I looked more into trail damage and learned that over half of the damage is user induced. One quote that really caught my attention was from Sine Wilson, who said that hikers tend to produce marginally more sediment than mountain bikes through the unique shearing forces that walking produces. This leads me to my opportunity and made me wonder how I can reduce the amount of sediment your foot makes when hiking, which would ultimately lead to longer lasting and more sustainable hiking trails. After looking at studies from basketball shoes to people who suffer from diabetic foot ulcers, I learned that one of the main key points to reducing your footprint was through torsional force, which helps reduce the inversion and eversion rotations of your foot when walking, leading to a straighter motion when while kicking up less sediment at the same time. While torsional force is very important to reducing your footprint, weight distribution is equally as important and will allow for the force of the foot on impact to be spread out more evenly, leading to smaller divots in the ground. By elevating the foot up to an inch on the heel or around 2.5 centimeters, you can create an even weight distribution of your foot that your heel and your toe are evenly distributing your weight. By creating a prototype shoe with a soft heel and a rocker bottom, which you'll see in a couple of slides, I noticed that you can reduce the amount of loose sediment that is kicked up by around 30%. This means every single time you take a step, you're creating 30% less trail damage, which may not seem like a lot, but over the course of hundreds of miles hiked, you can start to understand the positive difference it can make for the earth. I decided to take a handful of my shoes and study the imprint they left behind. These three here seem to create the least damaging footprints of all my shoes that were tested. In the top left, you have a shoe with a very small impact on the ground due to its midsole, which is very forgiving and squishy. The top right footprint creates a lot of negative space where the sediment is left untouched due to the cutouts in the bottom of the shoe. And on the bottom left, you have a shoe with a lot of surface area, especially around the heel, which led to smaller indentations, especially while hiking. So here's a photo of the concept shoe. As you can see, I have attached marshmallows to the heel of the shoe, which allows for the weight to be dispersed on initial impact of the ground. I also attached a foam football to act as a rocker for the foot. So that way, when you're rolling through this, so that way you roll through the step and not simply just a heel to toe motion. I'll play a quick video here to kind of show what it looks like. So as you can see, you start with the squishiness of the heel from the marshmallows that disperses the weight, and then the rocker or the foam football pushes down but rolls you through the step, creating hardly any imprint at all. So for my final prototype, I wanted to make sure I was taking in all the considerations of how you can reduce the imprint of your foot on the trail. You can see that I've designed a soft and squishy midsole with a rocker bottom that will act as the marshmallows and the football from the concept shoe. These two together will help your weight distribute as well as roll through the step, creating a minimal footprint left behind. As for the torsional force, I've created a heel stabilizer that wraps around the foot, which acts as an orthotic for the foot, helping to reduce the inversion and eversion movements of your step. So looking into the details, one thing I really wanted to incorporate was a topographic map of Bears Ears inscribed on the bottom of the shoe. Not only will this help provide you with traction and stability, but it will show everyone behind you that you're helping to push a more sustainable future. Moving on to the features of the shoe, you can see that many elements help to make the shoe what it is. Starting from the top left, the nylon collar helps provide ankle compression as well as ankle support By having a stretchy nylon collar, you can easily get your foot in and out without too much hassle. The cross-lacing system is one of my favorite additions to this shoe. A traditional shoe will just tighten from the top and keep your foot from exiting the shoe, but the cross-lacing system allows for complete lockdown and will tighten all the way around your foot, providing you confidence and the security you need to tackle any terrain. Like I said earlier, the heel stabilizer prevents the inversion and eversion movements on impact with the ground while comfortably locking your heel into place. Looking at the large weight dispersion heel, which is made out of soft foam, will help spread out the weight of your body on impact with the trail, leading to smaller indentations while still being incredibly comfortable. The rubber toe cap provides stability and protection for your toes, but also makes the shoe incredibly durable. And the upper is made of Gore-Tex, which provides waterproofing for your foot so that you don't have to worry about getting your feet wet when crossing a shallow creek. Although it's waterproof, it is still very breathable, so your feet can still cool down on a long, hot hike, especially through the desert. And then the rocker bottom encourages a natural bending motion as your foot progresses through the step. The combination of the squishy heel and the rocker bottom makes a huge impact when it comes to the footprint reduction. And finally, the rubber plates at the bottom of the shoe, providing you with traction. Popular to contrary belief, you don't need your hiking shoes to look like off-road tires to get traction. The topographic math indentation on the bottom allows your foot to stick to rocks and cruise through the sediment, while allowing for the benefits of the midsole to reduce your footprint on impact with the trail. So, as I conclude my presentation, it's important to understand who is benefiting from the shoe. The user benefits from the shoe, providing the user stability, improved comfort, and pain relief, as well as injury prevention. The heel stabilizer and the midsole are there to help you walk longer and further while exerting less energy. The BLM can benefit due to the fact that they'll do less trail maintenance due to the longer lasting and more sustainable hiking trails. This means they're saving money on maintenance, and now that the money can be used for other incredible projects. And better hiking trails also means more visitors who get to come and experience the beauty of Bears Ears. And as for the earth is benefiting from the shoe because each step does less harm to Mother Nature. This means the landscape is becoming more sustainable and can be experienced by more people while doing less damage. People who purchase the shoe are much more likely to become sustainable activists while starting to recognize and will start recognizing other spaces in which they can help make the earth a better place. And finally, as a designer, I've been incredibly selfish when it comes to my projects. Oftentimes, I only think about how the user can benefit from my work. Companies are pushing these sustainable movements where they're creating all this attention about how they use sustainable materials and reducing the carbon footprint, which is great, but we all seem to disregard the earth as a user of our products. The earth is a user of all of our products, whether she wants to be or not. Sustainable steps may not be making a huge change in the grand scheme of things, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. Thank you.